The death moon of Velcarith had no official name on any galactic registry. It was classified simply as Designation X779D, Approach Forbidden. Extreme hazard. No survivors on record. Ethan Cross landed there anyway. His ship, the persistent argument, settled into the cracked obsidian plains with a hiss of landing struts and the quiet dignity of a vessel that had survived too many forbidden zones to be impressed by warning labels anymore. Ethan stepped out in his environment suit, checked his readings, toxic atmosphere, gravitational anomalies, background radiation at mildly inconvenient levels, and made a note in his log, typical Thursday. He was a human explorer. Not the kind with government funding, military backing, or an extraction team on standby. He was the other kind, the kind the Galactic Consortium politely called independent contractors and privately called corpses waiting to happen. Ethan preferred curious. The reason he had come to X779D was a signal. Faint. Ancient. Pulsing from somewhere beneath the moon's shattered surface like a heartbeat that refused to give up. Every major civilization had detected it at some point and filed it under not worth the risk. The Vethari had sent a probe 300 years ago. The probe had returned empty. Not destroyed. Just empty, as though its memory had been surgically removed. Ethan found that fascinating rather than discouraging. He followed the signal on foot for 6 kilometers across terrain that looked like a graveyard for entire continents. The ground was layered with the bones of something massive, structures, perhaps, or creatures. Or both. The sky above was a bruised purple-black, lit by the distant ember of a dying star that cast everything in the color of old blood. Then he found the vault. It was built into the side of a collapsed mountain, sealed with a door that was simultaneously the most elegant and most terrifying thing Ethan had ever seen. The door was carved from a single slab of obsidian-veined dragon steel, a material the galaxy believed was theoretical, and etched across its surface in 11 different languages was a single repeated message. She sleeps. Let her sleep. Disturb her and your civilization will not survive the morning. Ethan read this message carefully. Then he knocked. There was a long silence. Then the door opened. The chamber inside was preserved in perfect stasis, cool, breathable air, soft bioluminescent light emanating from crystal formations in the walls, and at the center, on a raised dais of carved obsidian and gold, lay Lady Seraphix. Ethan Cross had seen many things in his years of exploration. He had stood inside the singing nebula of Kethoran. He had witnessed the death of a binary star system from a distance that made his bones vibrate. He had once accidentally been present at the birth of a new sentient species and had spent 3 uncomfortable weeks explaining to them why he wasn't a god. Nothing had prepared him for Lady Seraphix. She was enormous, or rather, she occupied space in a way that made the chamber feel small despite its cathedral dimensions. In her sleeping form, she appeared vaguely humanoid, tall, with scales of deep iridescent crimson and black that shifted color like oil on water as the bioluminescent light moved across them. Her hair, if it could be called that, was a cascade of something between dark flame and liquid shadow. Her face was angular, proud, achingly beautiful in the way of ancient things that have never needed to be anything other than exactly what they are. Around her neck, a collar of tarnished silver. A bride seal. Ethan recognized the design from his studies of the Draconis Imperium, a civilization that had ruled this sector of space 11,000 years ago. A bride seal meant she had been promised. Pledged. Waiting. For 11,000 years. Ethan Cross stood at the foot of her dais and did what any reasonable, prudent, self-preserving individual would absolutely not do. He woke her up. He found the resonance crystal embedded in the dais, the stasis control, and pressed it, because it was there and he was curious, and those two facts together had always been sufficient justification for every decision he had ever made. Lady Seraphix opened her eyes. They were gold. Not metaphorically gold. Not golden brown or amber. pure, molten, actual gold, lit from within, luminous, ancient beyond measure, and in the first second of her waking, capable of processing an entire galaxy's worth of information. Those eyes found Ethan Cross immediately. There was a silence that lasted approximately 4 seconds. In that silence, Ethan was very thoroughly assessed. He felt it, not metaphorically, but literally, like a physical pressure across every cell of his body, a consciousness so vast and old pressing gently against his own to take his measure. Then Lady Seraphix spoke. Her voice was low thunder wrapped in silk. You opened my vault. Yes. You read the warnings. Yes. And you knocked anyway. Seemed polite. Another silence. The gold eyes blinked slowly, not in confusion, Ethan realized, but in something approaching recalibration. As if she was updating a very old model of what humans were with new data, and finding the new data unexpected. I was pledged, she said finally. The Draconis Imperium sealed me here with a bride seal. My betrothed was to come for me when the war ended. A pause. Where is the Draconis Imperium? Ethan considered how to say this gently. He was not known for gentleness, but he tried. Gone. About 11,000 years ago. The war ended poorly, from what the historical record suggests. The golden eyes didn't waver. My betrothed? Also gone. Presumably. Lady Seraphix was quiet for a very long time. Ethan did not fill the silence. He had learned, over many years of encountering beings of immense power and grief, that silence was sometimes the only gift you had to offer. Then she looked at the bride seal around her neck. By the laws of the Draconis Imperium, she said slowly, if my pledged one does not come, the seal passes to the one who opens the vault. The one who chooses to wake me. Her gaze returned to Ethan. You knew this. I did not, Ethan said honestly. I just knocked because it seemed rude not to. I only just read the laws on the door on my way in, and they were in Draconic High Script, which I'm only about 70% fluent in. Then you did not open my vault to claim me. I opened your vault because there was a vault and I wanted to know what was inside. I have a problem with not knowing things. The silence stretched again. And then, slowly, impossibly, like sunrise on a world that hadn't seen light in millennia, Lady Seraphix smiled. It was not a small smile. A human, she said. Of all the beings in all the galaxies, a human stood at my door and knocked because it was polite. She sat up, and the bioluminescent crystals flared brighter, responding to her wakefulness. The bride seal around her neck began to glow, not silver anymore, but gold. Alive. Recognizing. The consortium has been watching this moon for 300 years, she said. It was not a question. Longer, probably. They knew I was here and did not come. They filed you under not worth the risk. Another long look. Those ancient golden eyes studying him with something that was curiosity and something older than curiosity, recognition, perhaps, of a quality she had not expected to find. I have been pledged for 11,000 years, Lady Seraphix said. I have waded through the death of empires, the births of new stars, the slow crawl of civilizations I will never know. I was promised to a lord who did not survive his own war. She rose fully, and she was tall, not monstrous, but magnificent, filling the chamber not with threat but with presence. The seal has passed to you. Do you understand what that means? I understand the law, Ethan said. I want to be clear that I'm not here to claim anything you don't choose to give. Then I will tell you what I choose. She stepped down from the dais. Her voice was quiet now, and absolutely certain. I choose to wed the being who knocked. Ethan Cross looked at her. You just woke up. I have had 11,000 years to sleep. I have had approximately 4 minutes of waking to assess you. The golden eyes held his. You knocked, Ethan Cross. In a universe full of beings who looked at that door and walked away, you knocked. That is sufficient. Ethan considered this. He considered the dead civilization, the ancient laws, the bride seal now glowing gold, and the 11,000-year-old dragon woman standing in front of him with the absolute certainty of someone who had made precisely one decision in 11 millennia and intended to stand by it. He considered the persistent argument waiting outside on the Obsidian Plains. He thought about how the Galactic Consortium was going to react. Then Ethan Cross, human explorer, independent contractor, corpse waiting to happen, smiled. "All right," he said. "But I'm noting in the log that this was your idea." Lady Seraphix, forgotten bride of a dead empire, awake for the first time in 11,000 years, laughed. And the crystals blazed, and the bride seal shone, and somewhere in the Galactic Consortium's monitoring stations, 17 separate alert systems began screaming simultaneously. The death moon of Velcarith had a new name now. Home.